foundation for this sadhana Panchkam. What is most important in the journey of the Eastern wisdom is that the mind must change. And we use the word purification of the mind. We also use the word focus of the mind. So, the focus means the mind is constantly looking at all the aspects of the real self. It is not wavering, it is not wandering. That is important. So that is why Aurobindo says it is an evolution of the mind. Or we can say it is a rise in consciousness. There are many words used in the journey of the Eastern wisdom by many masters. Now, how to understand this clearly in a very simple language? Simple language. So, take an example. You wake up in the morning. In that waking state itself is a delusion because I claim that this waking state is the real. But I don't agree with it. My mind doesn't agree. So now in that delusion, we meet a person, we start talking, mind inside. Outside, whatever you say, it is because of the formality, ethics, and what benefit we want to get from a person. But the inner mind is constantly thinking, oh, this person is good, this person is bad, I don't like this, what he says, but let me keep it calm. The mind is constantly thinking, constantly thinking. It is our daily experience. And then our expression comes in delusion. What is in the mind, I hold it back, and what is outside, based on my selfish interest, I communicate, I express myself. So now the mind is still in the delusion. Then we relate, then we return home, and the mind is still thinking. Deep inside the mind has decided the intent, desire, attachment, detachment, pain, pleasure. Oh, that guy is boring. You know, it is so casual to say, but what is happening? The mind is already accumulating all these impressions. Look at this, how easily we fall into delusion. And we are not aware. Then we return home, mind keeps thinking. It so when it keeps thinking, it is creating impression and it is going into the storehouse. It is becoming a vasana. One event, you have to think only one event. Think of how many events passes through on a single day. My goodness, how many events passes through a single day? So now the mind confirms, I know this guy, I don't know this guy, I like this guy, I don't like this guy, this is his habit or this is her attitude. Now what happens? Now the next level of the delusion. Can you imagine? Simple understanding. Now the mind takes me for a ride, as if a car is driving me. I am not driving the car. So we talk, that guy is not good, that guy, I know, I have heard him. He said me. Now the mind is driving me. Now the mind has become the master, and the mind is the worst master. This is what I was explaining. You see that the mind is the worst master, and I have to make it a slave. And to make it a slave, I have to purify the mind. I have to bring back the natural focus of the mind. think. Just be aware. Behind the mind, there is a consciousness. Nothing happens to that consciousness. Mind forgets the consciousness. Mind forgets that consciousness. Mind forgets the knower, and it claims that I am the knower, I am the master. This is what happens every day. This is what happens every day. The mind becomes a knower and it claims, I am the master. And I told you, mind is the worst master. So that is why we say, impure mind results into impure mind. One Upanishad, one master explains in a different way. How he explains? You have heard it couple of times. Uh, Mano hi dividham proktam. Mind is of two types, impure and pure, and ashuddham kama sankalpam. Now, entire summary, you see how beautifully this master has put into one verse what I have just explained to you. The impure mind becomes impure due to sankalpa and the desire. Impure mind, sankalpa, ashuddham kama sankalpam, and shuddham kama vivarjitam, absence of the entire vasana, the storehouse of that impression, is the pure mind. So it becomes very challenging for us when we study any text and we literally translate. Literal translation doesn't work. Simple translation means translation. It is not a knowledge hidden into it. Whether you are learning it in Ukrainian language or Sanskrit language or English, it is just a meaning. But what is the knowledge hidden behind it? Look at it. I explained you in a very simple word. So if I observe, anything, you keep on observing and ask the mind to keep on thinking, and you will find the delusion is there. When the delusion is there, the impurity is there. No, my wife is more beautiful than yours. Any damn thing can come to your head. Any damn. Even if you don't speak, your mind creates that impression by looking at your wife and other's wife or any other girl. Or maybe that other girl seems to be more beautiful than my wife. But I have not to say anything, otherwise there will be a problem. My wife will think that, now he is chasing another girl. You see, those impressions, those feeling and emotions, and we do it so casually. In the modern world, we do it so casually. So we are laying what is the strong foundation we before we should enter into this sadhana panchkam. And that is why I said we introduce the Shanti mantra every day in the morning. That should be our regular practice, not only the meaning, but let my mind keep on thinking, reflecting on this. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu vidvishavahi. Now you are constantly knowing the meaning and reflecting on it. So every time you are reciting this mantra, your mind will coin all these thoughts, feeling, and emotions. The way we were creating a delusion, now it is creating a new level of awareness. That is why it is very, very important. That is why everyone says Mangalacharan is very important. Mangalacharan simply means I pick up any intention and I follow that intention. Whether you say Asatoma, Satyagamaya, or maybe you can change every day. All these Shanti mantras, Asatoma, Satyagamaya, yes, falls to the real. What is constantly changing in the world of name in the form is false. So it means this mind cannot catch or get the glimpse of the real self because it always picks up the name in the form. Oh, there is something more. Tamasoma Jyotirgama. I have to do it because gradually it will help my mind not to drive me, but I will drive the mind. Because knowledge settles in the mind in a very slow manner. So that is one, evolving the intellect because I am using the intellect. So then I have to recognize when I'm started doing this mantra invocation or intention or auspiciousness or mangalacharan, whatever you say. One guy was saying that we create because everyone copies America, 99%. Even the yoga is copied by many people. So we have different styles of yoga, so and it is spread all over the world. So one guy told me, oh, I went to the studio. He said, let us create a auspicious space, sacred space. I said, sacred space is already within you. You cannot create it. If it does not exist, you cannot create it. So I should become aware of that sacred space inside me. I need not to put incense sticks. So how we become aware of that sacred space or purification of the mind or natural focus, that is what I discussed in the four types of intellect. I should have the four types of intellect. Righteous intellect, I told you. So during the conversation, you are talking what the mind is thinking, and at that moment, the intellect becomes aware. I have to live in awareness now. We are a higher seeker. Righteous intellect, dispassion intellect, love intellect, and the real self intellect. Four types of intellect. What is going to happen? That is, I would say, that is causing some challenges in your life uh, because your mind thinks that it all emotions, feeling has to do with sensuality. I have to strip that emotions from the sensuality. I have to move with the pure emotion. So then, only through understanding this love intellect will take over. What I have to do, mind says I like this guy, I'm talking to this, I don't like this guy, so I return home, I keep on what do I have to do with it? He's a human being, so is it not possible that I should move with a human being with a pure emotion? He is good and she is good, everyone is good. Let me keep my mind in a natural state. So once I do it regularly, then the pure emotion is felt, and that we need to feel it. If we don't feel it, the mind will not be purified. No, it will not be focused. So that is why we say that once we have these four types of intellect, we awaken to the four powers of the intellect. What we are doing? We are making the mind slave. Mind is the worst master. So now I have a power of faith, I have a power of decision, I have a power of dharana, that means holding on the mind, and I have power to regulate, take over the mind completely. And then what it happens? Then what happens? You are doing it for a couple of weeks. Now you are still waking up, because waking up, we have to wake up, we have to sleep, we have to drink. Now, first time you wake up and your mind is clear, you have done the Shanti mantra, you have listened and learned, you have done the practice, and first time you recognize your mind is not jumping on the likes and dislikes, on the past impression, it does not create any habit formation. So that master says your mind has become famous, famous in calmness. There is a sense of emotional freedom. There is a sense of recognition of the inner worth. Now your mind continues to live within. In that state, what happens? We get a feeling that, oh, this guy is in difficulty, in what way I can help, I can support, and you are ready to support. First time we recognize what is this love intellect. That is what we have been doing. But another way to understand this, the same thing I told you, we discussed five in the 5S, the sadhana. This is what the inner sadhana is. Outer sadhana is everyone can do it. Close your eyes, breathe in and out, do this kind of breathing, chant this mantra. Everything is possible. Anyone can do it. But inner sadhana, I have to I have to ask the intellect to reflect, drop this vasana in the field of awareness is a big challenge. Because you are now a higher seeker, you have to drop it constantly. So that is remember it, recall it, apply it. Now I have to get things done by this guy. Yes? Okay. At least he has that quality so that you can get the things done by that guy. That is why you are approaching that guy. So focus on his capabilities, focus on instead of likes and dislikes. That is the meaning of living in the world, but the world is not within you. Every time, so your focus is there. So that sadhana we need to do it every day. It means we have to maintain our awareness, sadhana. So, because if the sadhana is done in that level, that seeker, sadhaka, that seeker is of higher level. Why we say it is a higher level? He applies the four types of intellect. He lives with the four powers of the intellect. He experiences the changes coming to the mind. The mind is relaxed. Even if the mind said in the beginning that, I don't like it. It happens in our home also. Our mind says, I hate my honey. Why she or he is doing like this? So I get rid of it. It is very important. So then you realize that yes, you are living at a higher level of awareness. And in that higher level of awareness, you remember the goal. In the lower level of awareness, you cannot remember the goal. What is the goal? Goal is the self-discovery. And it also results into experiences and changes. Today you applied the four powers of the intellect and your mind says, okay, mind is calm throughout the day. The moment you wake up in this Wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed. Your mind did not cause any form of duality, conflict, anxiety, agitation inside, which people did not notice. Which people did not notice. But I realize now. So that is your realization, that is your experience. Then only we can move ahead. So that is why one master says that you have become an inner monk. The monk inside, not outside. That is what master says. In Krishna also says in Gita, ah, you are a monk whose mind is calm and relaxed and committed to the journey of the self-discovery at all time, in all relations, every day. You are a seeker. That I oversimplified by the five processes: engagement, education, empowerment, evolution, and enlightenment. Empowerment, obviously, now I empower the mind. Don't go there, go here. Means I have a higher level of awareness by which I pick up these thought, feeling, and emotions when I wake up in the morning, when I'm with someone. So it means what? I'm constantly purifying this mind through the four powers, four types of intellect, four powers of intellect, and for the sake of realization and experiencing. I experience that sense of the calmness. When we meet any person, when we perform all these activities habitually, unconsciously, impulsively, or because of the vasana, our pure emotion does not manifest. Pure emotion, here you can say the emotional quotient, EQ. So, if that emotional quotient is not working in the life of a seeker, he cannot progress. Both, but it has to come through the intellect first. How into purifying the mind? So now the mind is not moving with emotion of attachment, emotion of like, emotion of dislike, emotion of selfishness to get the things done. Emotion is taken away from all these likes, dislikes, attachment, detachment. So emotion has to manifest, and it manifests in a love. So, so just reflect on it. Means every day I should follow a morning routine strictly. So when I use the word strictly, that becomes the tapa. So don't start thinking that, oh, tapa is something going into the Himalayas and standing on one foot. How can you realize real self by standing on one foot? The swan always stands on one foot, but intention is catching the fish. So it is not possible. It has nothing to do with that standing on one. We have to understand, clear understanding. Knowledge part has to be very, very important. So morning routine has to be that becomes the tapa. Did I do this? Let me note down. So I've done first step, two, second, third, fourth, fifth. I missed the one step. But why I missed the one step? Because the mind was traveling somewhere else. Why the mind was traveling somewhere else? Because it fell into delusion. I have not to forget. So let me complete this practice before I go to the sleep. In the every day in the evening before going to sleep, ask yourself how many times your mind got upset inside, were agitated inside, had a strong likes and dislikes. Contemplate, reflect through the righteous intellect and dispassion and throw them out. So we are doing the practice 24 by 7. We are doing the practice 24 by 7. That needs to be understood. So morning routine is one, and then you are using those four types of intellect to think, to speak, and to act in relationship throughout the day. Evening reflection is there before going to sleep, and then you have a weekly review. What will be a weekly review? You will find out that in 1 week you have moved far ahead. You constantly live and rise in awareness. There are no event took place, or even the small events took place which you resolved. So every day you will see that there is a rise in awareness. Every week you will see that there is a progress. Every month you will see, oh, this is definitely it is happening. I used to say listening and learning is definitely important, but without listening and learning, you cannot understand these principles. But listening and learning alone cannot help you to reach to that state of reality. After listening and learning, I have to work on it. Contemplation, reflection, practice, tapa, I have to do it. The wisdom of that wisdom comes. So, when I use this mantra, Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvisha Vahi. So you see that it's a mutual blessing. Mind says, I don't like this person, and the intellect says, mutual blessing. Mind says, mutual blessing. So the mind has moved from the vasana to the next step. That is the message of this mantra. Why it has to move, we already know it. Then share joy. We share our joy together while listening to the teacher, and then you apply the same thing in your personal, professional, and social life. What is going to happen? Maybe you don't like a particular habit of your honey. So internally, you are working on your mind to cool down, to calm down, to have a state of the calmness, do whatever you want to do. What that means, the dispassion intellect. I have to live into that state to become a higher seeker, to live into, then we can definitely share joy. Active participation. Active participation means that my intellect is more taking over the mind. Mind, you cannot be the master. Man, let my intellect work on it. No, I don't like this guy. Intellect is asking the righteous intellect why we met. Oh, to get the things done. So, why don't you focus on the work to be done? Why you are going there and asking? So, that is what the active participation. It is inner inside you. It has to work inside you. You will never be into anxiety or duality and a conflict when you are making a presentation, even in the business. You are free. Your focus is natural, focus is there. You already know your subject. But you just prepare a paper on here is the paper, here is the document, and this is what. Do you have any other question? But if the mind is the master, then we have hesitation, we have a sense of anxiety. Who is going, oh, I'm going to talk to the chief of the army staff. Oh, he is the chief. Oh, he's also a human being. He is just a human being. Then your intellect is asking, do I know my subject matter? Do I know the answers of all the questions asked? Yes. Did I prepare a paper? Yes. So your intellect is focused here. It is mind is not returning with anxiety, with the fear. Think. So that is what the active participation and cultivating alertness. Cultivating alertness. And that is the Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Tejasvinavadhitamastu means that tejas, that fire, that light of the intellect, that force of the intellect is available to you at all the moment to take care. That is what we say the cultivating alertness. I just changed the word, and then we don't have any envy or jealousy against anyone. So the righteous intellect follows, comes the dispassion intellect, and then you say, no, I don't have enemy. You may be the chief. I respect you. So what the society says, I must respect. I should stand up. I should talk in a manner, you are sir, you are boss. Army chief, you have 100,000 military and everyone says that he is the boss, he is the sir. So I should also address him as a sir. It is the righteous intellect thinks in this way. It does not want to enter into any conflict. The same way with the honey, so I have my righteous intellect decides and finds out that how it is to be done. You are not committing any sin if you follow this. Where is a sin? Unfavorable condition. Do you remember? I create by thought, speech, and action. Thought inside associated with emotion. You are crazy, then I'm already created unfavorable condition. Whatever you say, I will definitely oppose it in a different way, and that will irritate. So I have created an unfavorable situation. So don't get too much obsessed with the sin, but think: did I create unfavorable situation, agitation, or anxiety in others? Did I have that anxiety in me? Get rid of it by intellect. So you are on the path of the merit. You created merit in this situation. Then we come to the sadhana panchakam. So we have built all this because the first step is so simple. Master made it very simple. He says study daily. So it means I have a strong foundation. What it means by study daily? This it means. This it means. He has summarized 3,000 texts. How can we take his instructions so lightly? Oh, this it means I have not to only study, I have not only listen and learn, I have to do contemplation, reflection. I have to find out how the mind changes, and I have not only to study the text, but I have to study myself. You see, the word study is used in many ways. I have to study myself. I have to. So how I have to study myself? I have to study based on the knowledge provided by the East and West. I have to study myself based in modern psychology. Modern psychology says there is no real self. Finished. Manage your stress every day. Manage means that you cannot completely cure it. So manage. So that is why all these aspects, sadhana panchakam. So every day in the evening, ask yourself, did you practice japa? I told you, Om Namah Shivaya. Every day, when you are talking to someone, you say, okay, Shiva is sitting in him, or he is Shiva. Now let me talk. there's another step I always recommend to everyone. So you are driving your car, reaching to a destination, mind has to do nothing. Om Namah Shivaya. Mind is going, you are going to the restroom, mind has to do nothing. Om Namah Shivaya. Forget about that. You need not to do it. It will incur sin. It will not incur sin because your intellect is taking a right direction. You are solving a problem at your family. Om Namah Shivaya. Mental. Mental. So you are filtering out the past impression and the vasana. You recognize them that they are forcing you to come out, but you are separating them. One guy told me that I did 15 times Om Namah Shivaya. I said, you forgot 15 times and you remembered 15 times. That's a great thing to do. You are moving ahead. At least you recognize the mind was in a delusion. Mind wanted to take me to the delusion and you have given a break. We have to do it. Om Namah Shivaya. Or just thought image is there in the Shiva. No one is there. Thought image is there. You know the head-up display in the car? No, head-up display is that, when you're driving the car, that map you can see at a distance.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't we have a head-up display of the Shiva in front of us? It is not there, but still I have a head-up display. That is the name given. As if it is in the sky. It is in the space. It's a reflection. So why shouldn't I have a head-up display of the Shiva? Okay, you are with me? Thank you. So instead, the mind is moving with the vasana, becoming the worst master. I'm saying, mind, you have to become a slave. You follow the head-up display of Om Namah Shivaya. It also makes sense in head up, this head, not head up of the car. Head-up display of the Shiva. I recall. So when you repeat the practice, you will realize that, oh, this is what is happening. Oh, it has dropped. It has dropped the delusion. It has dropped the hesitation. It has dropped the strong likes and dislikes. It has to be pragmatic. It has to be practical. I cannot do breathing all the time to purify the mind. I have to go to another level of practice. Why? Because I'm a higher seeker. I have to use the intellect to do it. Why higher seeker? Higher seeker lives in a higher awareness. We have to do that.
Concentration and dharana is the same.
Yes, concentration in modern psychology is different than the dharana. And otherwise, if we translate dharana, it is known as concentration. So, how it is different? That we need to understand how it is different. Cows are with a leash in their neck, and then that rope is tied to a tree. So the cow can only move in a limited area. That is dharma. What is concentration in modern psychology? Pick up an object, bring your mind there. But my mind is distracted by millions of the thoughts, bring it back. But if I forget, then what should I do? Then you are already crazy. Why you forget? So I have to make an effort. I have to make an effort. So here what I have done in dharana, Om Namah Shivaya. So what is that? Limited. I have created a limited territory of the mind. I translate dharana. That is what is the definition given by Patanjali. Beautiful. Deshabandhasya chetasya dharana. Confining the territory of the mind on a particular object. What is the object? Om Namah Shivaya. I said it loudly, I said it mentally. That is second limitation. I did not say it, but I saw it in the head-up display. I have limited the mind. I am not worried about how many thoughts I have to control. I have to force. It has nothing to do with the pressure and the stress. Concentration in modern psychology, you have to do lot of, oh, my mind has gone. No, that is not dharana of Eastern wisdom. Did you understand?
There is exercise like tratak, when you concentrate on the particular object, and object have to be good vision of object, and if your mind go aside, you have to bring it back.
Yes, that is also, it has a little departure from the concentration of modern psychology, but it aligns with the concentration of modern psychology because you have a bright object and you have to focus there. The thoughts are coming and you have to bring it back. So the object is very bright and bring it back again and again. So obviously, when you bring it back again and again, you realize the mind has already got into a thought for which you had a very strong negative emotion. So you are looking at the Trataka, but still your mind has already gone outside.
But when we have image of Shiva, in our case, the object is image of Shiva and mantra Om Namah Shivaya.
That is
And
mantra.
if
That is the sound. It means mantra means the sound. So I bring the Om Namah Shivaya by a sound, by the image, the thought image. So I can put the thought image anywhere and everywhere. On the object where my mind is distracted. My mind is distracted to my honey, and I say Om Namah Shivaya is sitting there. So I'm not creating any resistance. I'm helping the mind. Mind, you have to listen to me. Shiva is also there. Oh, you have gone to the honey. Yes, you have gone to a beautiful girl. Oh, Om Namah Shiva is also there. You see that mind is not creating any pressure. So you are separating it. Mind has gone to the honey. Honey is an object where the distraction of the mind is there, and there also you see the Om Namah Shiva. So that is not causing, but in concentration, in Tratak, you have to bring your mind back. You see that you have not to think of the honey. Oh, why my mind has gone to the honey? Let me think again. Let me bring it back with the eyes, with my mind, with focus. Lot of effort is required. So that is a Hatha Yoga practice, and I told you the Hatha Yoga is the primary level of journey. That is why they have done a good job. Even then, they have done a good job.
But when I do our meditation, I also repeat the mantra and trying to always see the Shiva image.
Yes.
And if some thoughts is coming, I just in any case I trying to switch to the mantra and to the Shiva object.
Yes. And it would be a wonderful thing if the image of the Shiva becomes an object of Tratak. How come? You are looking, so there what you do, You move your mind from the feet of the Shiva to the top of the head. And now the mind has gone to the honey. And there also you superimpose the Shiva. Don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. So there also you, superimpose the image of the Shiva and then see what happens to the mind. Mind will naturally come to the Shiva. That is not Tratak. In Tratak, you have to make a very hard effect. No, no more thought. No other thought, no other object, nothing else except the image of the Shiva. The Hatha Yoga teacher will tell you, oh, your mind has gone to the honey. Honey is not Shiva. But Patanjali has done a good job. Patanjali, that is why Patanjali did not say Tratak. Desabandhasya chitasya dharana. Confine the territory of the mind to one object. Like the cow with the leash. That tree where the cow is tied is the Om Namah Shivaya. But you have given an opportunity to move your mind, or mind moves anywhere and everywhere. So what is going to happen? Again, same example. Your mind goes to the honey and you superimpose Om Namah Shivaya. Object and mind is already tied. The mind naturally leaves the honey with all its emotions and it returns to the Shiva. If it is there, we have a righteous intellect, we have a dispassionate intellect. So there's a big difference.
So it should work like yagya to Om Namah Shivaya.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. All these practices are intertwined. All these practices are intertwined and very interconnected. I recognize the rule of the mind. So what I said in Tradika, I recognize the rule of the mind. Mind, Om Namah Shivaya, sound. Om Namah Shivaya, mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, thought image. Om Namah Shivaya, the blue color of the Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya from feet to the top of the head. Om Namah Shivaya with the Rudraksh. You see, it is confining the territory of the mind. Your mind is still on the same object. By Rudraksha, by sound, by the mantra, by the thought image, by the blueness. That is dharma, which is roughly translated as concentration. But it is a beautiful explanations and principle coming from Patanjali.
So the exercise is not to be concentrated on the image of Shiva, but to see image of Shiva everywhere.
Yes, you are right. Yes, to see everywhere. Why it means everywhere? Wherever the mind goes. Wherever the mind goes, there you have Om Namah Shivaya. In Tratak, it is not so. It is just the opposite. In Tratak, now you have to bring your mind forcibly back. You are looking at the object of the Tratak, but the mind is already spending time with the honey. That is not Tratak. So when you recognize, you remember, then you bring your mind also on the object of the Tratak. Patanjali, I would also talk about it. It's very important. Patanjali was a great master. Even though great masters in Hatha Yoga, they know it, but they realize that, when a person has to be introduced the yoga, it's better to do the Tratak. Patanjali has written his text for the higher seeker. It is not for the lower seeker. And for the higher seeker, then he recognized that this mind is constantly wandering. Means what? The mind cannot be stopped. Why the mind cannot be stopped? Because the mind comes from the matter, from the Prakriti, and it is constantly changing. So he found the way that mind, if you are changing, so I will introduce Om Namah Shivaya, for example. So that is much more preferable practice for the higher seeker. Or even if you practice Tratak, ultimately you come to that level. So why not? If I say that you are doing a Tratak on the Shiva, yes, you do the Tratak on the Shiva, but you are aware now. Now the mind has gone to the honey. Oh, Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva, you have gone there? Thank you. I'm with you. I'm with you. He's, I have gone to that money. Yes, very good. There is no resistance. There is no reaction. There is no force. There is no control. There is no suppression. It's a sublimation. It's a sublimation. Wherever the mind goes, there I see the Shiva. It becomes one of the greatest practice. It can result into a deeper meditation. Patanjali has discussed much later about that how it takes you to a very higher state of meditation. In Sabij Samadhi, in Savikalpa Samadhi, these are the two different names of higher practice, higher state of meditation. So you are not doing anything. You're just aware of the Om Namah Shiva. You are aware of the thought image. Mind makes you aware of your honey and you superimpose the thought image. That is all. Or mantra. Honey, you are, but yes, Om Namah Shiva. That is what every master wants to convey by talking. But question is, our mind has to pick up. And now we have done the contemplation and reflection on this, for example, on the Trataka. So it will help us to, and then again, you return back to your four types of intellect, four powers of intellect, and how the four types of intellect become famous. Become famous is your experience of a change, your experience of a change, and if it happens. So what is happening? We are now easily saying goodbye to the mind that wants to be the master. And we now realize it is the worst master. As if the car is driving me. Obviously, it is the worst car. It is the worst car. That needs to be done. Intellect inspires to do the practice without fail. The intellect has taken over the mind. It has realized even the very subtler movement of the mind. The intellect says, come on, come back. Don't come, no, honey. So intellect says, come back. On the honey, you see the Om Namah Shiva. In the business, you see the Om Namah Shiva. You are meeting the army chief, you are saying Om Namah Shiva. I'm meeting Om Namah Shiva. Where is the problem? I'll pick up one more aspect that's very important to understand. Why we are doing this? Now question, why we are doing this? Okay, yeah, purification of the mind, and so that we can, yeah, that's a very simple answer. Initially, we give a simple answer, and then by the same example, we go deeper. So let us dive deeper into it. We wake up in the morning, by default, the mind says, I am the body and the mind. I have heard from the teacher 1 million times that I am not the body and the mind. But even then, the mind says, I am the body and the mind. Why? Because of the vasana. It is a very subtler level of awareness. That is why you see that we find a big gap between intellectual understanding and the realization. I'm making a very subtle point. So you see that Eastern wisdom says we are not the body and the mind. I say I'm the body and the mind. Even if I don't say, internally I say it, I'm the body and the mind. So it means there is a total opposite way, opposite path. And that creates a big gap between intellectual understanding and my experience. I experience the body. Come on, I experience the mind. How can I be not the body and the mind? So that is why we are doing these practices. For example, Om Namah Shivaya. First time we will recognize honey, Om Namah Shivaya. I see the difference. I see that separation. And that separation comes here. That will take your intellect to a higher level of dispassion intellect. Many teachers do not explain it, so they because and then the students, get frustrated. But here, every master explains beautifully. Do you see? My experience is different than what I'm learning. And the principle of the Eastern wisdom is just going opposite of my personal experience. So I have to analyze all my experiences before I take a decision.
Yeah,
And once I analyze, I am not my experiences, how simple it is to say it, and how challenging it is to realize it. Experiences are always different, it is constantly changing. And what is changing is not me. One guy who does corporate programs for the executives through the breath, so he just said that I had an experiences of awakening 10 years ago. I said, what happened now? Are you not awakened now? He said, I have to think. I said, you told me that you had an experience of awakening, and experience continues to change. No experience remains the same. So now you are unawakened. Before you talk to me, people have very wrong misunderstanding. Experiential and the wisdom. My experience is one, and the wisdom of the masters is different. What should I do? Then the master says, don't, because that is a higher step. First, you become a seeker. And the people find it that there is a wide gap between, no, you answer me that question. No, I cannot answer you. Unless you become a seeker, then only you can change your experience. So that is the problem. And then many teachers find it an easy response. So they find an easy response and they misguide the student. So we find the limitations of listening and learning. Now you see, we have found the limitations of listening and learning because it creates a gap between my experience and the wisdom. Goal is that I have to become a seeker. I have to change my perception. I have to change my perception. How? That was the topic today. And once we do that, then only